Today is April 17th, 2026, and this is Read Through the Bible.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, if I say ding ding, what does that mean to you?
Boxing.
Boxing, yes, very good. And so that's what's happening right here.
That's right. So we're going to start round 2 here. So we had Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, and Job responded to each of them. Mm-hmm. And so now we're going to start that same rotation.
Yes.
And so we're going to start with Eliphaz in chapter 15, and but it's going to change tone here.
Yeah. So in the first part, when Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar spoke, they sort of kind of seemed to be feeling Job out, a little bit more polite with him.
Right. Like Eliphaz started off with actually really commending Job.
Yeah.
And then they seem to kind of take a compassionate attitude of, Job, I know you're suffering, but if you would just turn to the Lord and confess your sins, He'll be merciful to you.
Right. And they seem to, in the second round, they seem to take just another twist that just more accusatory. Mm-hmm. Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar all talk about the wicked person and just the difficulties and hardships that the wicked person faces.
Yeah, in round 2.
Job, you're facing that, you must be wicked. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the conclusion.
And I think they come to that point probably because Job, in his responses to them, was not listening to what they said.
Right.
And he was defending himself.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's just see this. So we got Eliphaz in chapter 15, verse 1. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, "Should a wise man answer with windy knowledge and fill his belly with the east wind?" Again, there's an insult talking about just windy knowledge, just like you, Job. "Should he argue in unprofitable talk or in words which he can do no good? But you are doing away with the fear of God and hindering meditation before God." I think there's a key verse right there.
Yeah, because like Job is wanting to make his case before God, and he seems to be implying that God is not just in punishing him. And so I think then Eliphaz is saying, well, then you don't fear God.
That's right. Eliphaz continues, "For your iniquity teaches your mouth, and you choose the tongue of the crafty. Your own mouth condemns you, and not I. Your own lips testify against you."
Okay, he's going to lay into it here. Verse 7, "Are you the first man who was born? Or were you brought forth before the hills?"
Like, are you the oldest and the wisest person?
Right.
And this goes back to chapter 12, verse 12, verse 2, when Job says, "Oh, will wisdom die with you?"
Yeah, so
like trading barbs.
One's saying, "Oh, you think you're so wise, huh?" And then the other one, now Eliphaz is basically saying the same thing to Job.
So I think the boxing match ding illustration is very true. These guys are boxing with each other. Yes.
They are, with their words. So he says, verse 8, "Have you listened in the counsel of God? And do you limit wisdom to yourself? What do you know that we do not know? What do you understand that is not clear to us? Both the gray-haired and the aged are among us, older than your father." So I think implying probably that Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar are rather old.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Verse 11, "Are the comforts of God too small for you, or the word that deals gently with you?" So I think they think they've been trying to be fairly gentle. Verse 12, "Why does your heart carry you away, and why do your eyes flash, that you turn your spirit against God and bring such words out of your mouth? What is man that he can be pure? Or he who is born of woman that he can be righteous? Behold, God puts no trust in his holy ones, and the heavens are not pure in his sight. How much less one who is abominable and corrupt, a man who drinks injustice like water."
Yeah, so essentially Eliphaz at this point is kind of calling Job proud. Like he thinks he's got the way. I think he was personally insulted, like verse 9. "What do you know that we don't know?" And that he has refused to listen to the kind words that have come. And so now here he's going to lay it on him heavy, strong and heavy. Verse 17, "I will show you, hear me, and what I have seen I will declare. What wise men have told without hiding it from their fathers, to whom alone the land was given, and no stranger passed among them." Okay, and then here's a great summary here. "The wicked man writhes in pain all his days." And Eliphaz, basically, through the whole rest of chapter 15, is going to speak about what happens to the wicked man and how he writhes in pain and how difficult it is for him. And the clear implication is that, Job, you're experiencing these things, you must be a wicked man.
Right. Yes.
Okay, the wicked man writhes in pain all his days, verse 20, through all the years that are laid up for the ruthless. Dreadful sounds are in his ears. In prosperity, the destroyer will come upon him. This is like all doom and gloom. He does not believe that he will return out of darkness. He is marked for the sword. He wanders abroad for bread, saying, where is it? He knows that a day of darkness is ready at his hand. Distress and anguish terrify him. They prevail against him like a king ready for battle. Because he has stretched out his hand against God and defies the Almighty, running stubbornly against him with a thickly bossed shield, because he has covered his face with fat and gathered fat upon his waist, and has lived... You laugh, huh? I need to work on that's for sure. Gathering fat upon his waist. And has lived in desolate cities, in houses that none should inhabit, which were ready to become heaps of ruins. He will not be rich, and his wealth will not endure, nor will his possessions spread over the earth. He will not depart from darkness. The flame will dry up his shoots. By the breath of his mouth he will depart. Let him not trust in emptiness, deceiving himself, for emptiness will be his payment. It will be paid in full before his time, and his branch will not be green. He will shake off his unripe grape like the vine, and cast off his blossom like the olive tree, for the company of the godless is barren, and fire consumes the tents of bribery. They conceive trouble and give birth to evil, and their womb prepares deceit. Woof, it's right. They conceive trouble, give birth to evil, their womb prepares deceit. Okay,
and
so
that's the characteristics of the wicked.
Yeah, so if you're looking maybe for some verses here that summarize what Eliphaz has said, I think verse 4 and verse 20 say, well, you're doing away with the fear of God. And basically he's arguing that you're justifying yourself, you're not listening to what we're saying. And also then verse 20, here's the wicked man. The wicked man writhes in pain all his days. And you're writhing in pain, you need to be wicked. That's why God is cursing you. And then Job responds in chapters 16 and 17.
Okay, 16:1. Then Job answered and said, I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are you all. Shall windy words have an end? Or what provokes you that you answer?
Yeah, so here are just more and more insults, right? These windy words.
Right, he's just throwing it right back at him.
Yeah, in chapter 15, verse 2, he talked about windy knowledge. And here he's talking about windy words.
Yep. Verse 4. I also could speak as you do if you were in my place. I could join words together against you and shake my head at you. I could strengthen you with my mouth, and the solace of my lips would assuage your pain.
So here basically he's saying to Eliphaz that if our situations were reverse, I could shake my head at you. I could speak against you, but I could also strengthen you and give you help. But all you've done is you've shaken your head at us, and you have spoken words against me. You've not been a comfort to me at all, is what he said. Verse 6. If I speak, my pain is not assuaged, and if I forbear, how much of it leaves me? Surely now God has worn me out. Okay, from this point on. Right?
Yeah, he's just going to list all the many ways that God has afflicted him. It's almost like he's making his case against God, of like, God, you did this, and you did this, and you did this to me.
Which we know in chapters 1 and 2, this is fairly true. I mean, this is true.
Yeah.
Job says, after hitting all these disasters, the Lord gives, the Lord takes away, blessed be the name of the Lord. And he did, with that, Job even says, it says in Job chapter 1, and the Job did not sin with his lips.
Right, but
he spoke the truth.
Now he's kind of focusing in on all the details and listing it.
And rehashing all the different things that God has done. So just listen to the sovereignty of God, what God has done. He says, surely now God has worn me out. He has made me desolate, all my company. He has shriveled me up, which is a witness against me, and my leanness has risen up against me. It testifies to my face. He has torn me in his wrath and hated me. He has gnashed his teeth at me. My adversaries sharpen his eyes against me. Men have gaped at me with their mouth. They have struck me insolently on the cheek. They mass themselves together against me. And God gives me up to the ungodly and casts me into the hands of the wicked. I was at ease, and he broke me apart. I think in very many ways he was at his ease. He had all this wealth, and he was fine. And then God came and broke him apart. So that's like he's getting a lot of this right.
Yes.
That God gave Satan permission to do that, but really it's coming from God himself in some regards. He wasn't the agent of it, but certainly allowed it to happen. I was at ease. He broke me apart. He seized me by the neck and dashed me to pieces. He set me up as his target. His archers surrounded me. He slashes open my kidneys and does not spare. He pours out my gall upon the ground. He breaks me with a breach upon breach. He runs upon me like a warrior. I have sewed, and then this is now his response to his suffering. I have sewed sackcloth upon my skin and have laid my strength in the dust. My face is red with weeping, and on my eyelids is deep darkness. And all this suffering is unjust, because although there was no violence in my hands, and my prayer is pure. So he responds to Eliphaz basically saying, well, I could smash you as well, but God is the one who wiped me out unjustly because there was no violence. And
Right. He goes
Chapter
back.
1 tells he's sinless, right? He's a righteous man, Job was. Yeah.
Verse 18, O earth, cover not my blood, and let my cry find no resting place. Even now, behold, my witness is in heaven, and he who testifies for me is on high.
There's a shock.
Yeah.
Because in chapter 9, verse 33, he said there's no arbiter, like how hopeless it was. But yet here, his comforters, his friends, are no help. He's just got to plead to God. God is my only witness about these things.
Yeah. Verse 20, my friends scorn me. My eye pours out tears to God, that he would argue the case of a man with God, as a son of man does with his neighbor. For when a few years have come, I shall go the way from which I shall not return.
Yeah, so in terms of summarizing chapter 16, I think verse 9 might be a good summary. He has torn me in his wrath and hated me. Or maybe verse 12, I was at ease and he broke me apart. But even verse 17 then, my prayer was pure. It was unjust.
Right, so he stands on his blamelessness there.
Yes. Okay, and then 17. Basically in this chapter, he just, again, kind of goes back to the grave and death and wants to die. He says basically, if I want to die, where's my
hopeless.
Hope? He's hopeless, yes, hopeless. And that's how the chapter ends, right? Verse 15, where's my hope? Where's my hope? Okay, verse 1, my spirit is broken, my days are extinct, the graveyard is ready for me. Like the hole's been dug, all I got to do is jump in. Surely there are mockers about me, and my eye dwells on their provocation.
Lay down a pledge for me with you. Who is there who will put up security for me? Since you have closed their hearts to understanding, therefore you will not let them triumph. He who informs against his friends to get a share of their property, the eyes of his children will fail.
He has made me a byword of the peoples, and I am the one before whom men spit. And my eye has grown dim from vexation, and all my members are like a shadow. The upright are appalled at this, and the innocent stirs himself up against the godless. Yet the righteous holds to his way, and he who has clean hands grows stronger and stronger. But you, come on again, all of you, and I shall not find a wise man among you. Again, there's an insult.
Yep.
None of you are wise. For my days are past. My plans are broken off. The desires of my heart, they make night into day, and the light, they say, is near to the darkness. If I hope for Sheol as my house, and if I make my bed in darkness, if I say to the pit, you are my father, and to the worm, my mother or my sister, then where is my hope? Who will see my hope? Will it go down to the bars of Sheol? Shall we descend together into the dust? So those last two verses are super helpful in terms of just talking about how he has lost hope. I think chapter 17, verse 1, the graveyard is ready for me.
Yeah.
It's just a very downer sort of passage. He's lost his hope. These guys are trying to comfort him, basically saying, you're wicked. And he's saying, I'm not. I'm pure before God. I'm suffering unjustly. God has crushed me, and I have no hope.
Well, and I think he wants God to be his advocate,
Yep.
to validate him and say you are righteous, and yet he feels alone.
Right.
He feels deserted.
Okay, we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.